Thanks for joining us for CBN News Today. I'm Charlene Israel.
And I'm Efrem Graham. The president's approval ratings are falling as problems with Obamacare continue and as more and more angry Americans receive notices their health insurance will be canceled. Now lawmakers are stepping in and trying to pick up the president's slack. With growing criticism of President Obama's promise that if you like your plan, you can keep it, now lawmakers from both parties are stepping in to see the president's promise is kept. Two measures are in the works that would allow consumers to keep their coverage if they like it. And Obamacare has also become a key issue in the Virginia governor's race. Republican Ken Cuccinelli is highlighting its flaws.
Absolutely, real life has that effect on people.
It's a great driving force because I think Obamacare needs to be resisted.
With Obamacare's reputation on the line, both the president and vice president are fighting hard for Cuccinelli's opposition, Terry McAuliffe. They told voters no vote should be taken for granted.
Where the other side will generate every single solitary Tea Party sympathizer in this state. They will show up. So it's all up to you.
But the president himself is not popular at the moment. The Obamacare controversy is creating political fallout for the president and the Democratic Party. The approval rating has taken a hit. According to the latest Gallup survey, the president has a 53% disapproval rating, 40% approve. And back in Washington, some critics are stepping up their attacks on the president. A former speechwriter for the second President Bush wrote in the Washington Post, "The president said, if you like your health care plan, you will be able to keep your health care plan, period. This was a premeditated deception. This wasn't something Obama ad-libbed. It was a line in the presidential speech that was carefully reviewed by the entire White House senior staff." Obama's own advisors told the Wall Street Journal they knew those 16 words were untrue, but Obama kept on saying them over and over again. If that's the case, then Obama didn't misspeak. He lied. President Obama continues to defend his health care law. He says that people who have gotten cancellation notices were often getting very bad deals.
Today's governor's race in Virginia will depend on voter turnout, and Democrat Terry McAuliffe and Republican Ken Cuccinelli believe the Obamacare issue will help rally their core supporters. McAuliffe got help from longtime friends Bill and Hillary Clinton, as well as President Obama. Cuccinelli had last-minute help from Senator Marco Rubio and Libertarian favorite Ron Paul. That could be key for Cuccinelli since a Libertarian candidate, Robert Sarvis, is also on the ballot. Cuccinelli had been trailing McAuliffe in the polls, but recent surveys show public outrage over Obamacare may have helped him close the gap to 1 or 2 points. Political observers say this race has gotten national implications.
There's a lot of political experts and pundits that believe that this Virginia race could be a test case for Hillary Clinton's campaign as she goes forward. And there are a lot of high-level McAuliffe officials who are rumored to be considered for posts in the Clinton campaign. So that, in addition to Ken Cuccinelli's close association with the Tea Party, makes many people across the nation wonder if what we see here in Virginia could be indicative of what we see on the national stage going forward.
And the race will be decided by few people who vote. Turnout could be as low as 30%.
Also on the ballot today, Governor Chris Christie is expected to win re-election against Democrat Barbara Bono. Meanwhile, a New Jersey couple is suing Christie for signing a bill that bans gay conversion therapy. The couple claims the ban violates their freedom of speech and religion because it prevents them from seeking treatment for their teenage son. According to the lawsuit, their son suffers from unwanted gender identity and disorder, unwanted same-sex attraction, and has contemplated suicide. The bill bans licensed therapists from helping teenagers who want to overcome homosexual tendencies.
On the ballot in Albuquerque, New Mexico, a proposed ban on late-term abortions. The Roman Catholic Archbishop of Santa Fe is urging Albuquerque parishioners to vote yes on the ban. The measure blocks abortions after 20 weeks of pregnancy. If it passes, the measure would close one of the few clinics in the country performing abortions in their 3rd trimester of pregnancy.
The Senate is moving forward with a bill to prohibit workplace discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identity. Monday, 7 Republicans and 54 Democrats cleared the bill on a vote of 61 to 30. House Speaker John Boehner reaffirmed his opposition to the bill, making it unlikely the House will schedule a vote. He says the legislation will increase frivolous litigation and cost American jobs, especially small business jobs. The bill would grant special protection status to gay, bisexual, and transgender people.
Lawmakers in Missouri voted to allow schools and other public buildings to observe Christmas without restriction. The law allows the celebration of any federal holiday on government property. State lawmakers say they passed the bill with Christmas specifically in mind. Governor Jay Nixon vetoed the measure over the summer. Lawmakers overrode the veto last month.
Turning overseas now, chaos erupted Monday in an Egyptian courtroom at the trial of the country's first democratically elected president. Security in the capital city of Cairo is also tight, as former President Mohamed Morsi faces charges of inciting violence. George Thomas has the details now from Egypt.
You know, it truly is hard to imagine that more than 2.5 years ago on this very spot, the famous Tahrir Square in downtown Cairo became the focal point, the epicenter for tens of thousands of Egyptians who were chanting, calling for freedom, calling for the removal of then President Hosni Mubarak. Well, this week, another dramatic turn of events in the history of this nation, the trial of Mohamed Morsi and 14 top lieutenants in the Muslim Brotherhood. Egyptians saw Morsi for the first time since his removal 4 months ago. He struck a defiant tone the moment he entered the courtroom. "I am the legitimate president of the republic," he told the judge in a loud voice. "I am here against my will." He even refused to wear a prison uniform, instead wore a dark suit.
He is the head of this court. He refuses to wear the defendant's clothes because he is not a defendant.
Morsi and 14 other Muslim Brotherhood members are charged with inciting murder and could face the death penalty if convicted. The trial fueled anger and protests across the capital city.
This is a show trial. We are telling the judges of Egypt not to take part in this trial.
Morsi was Egypt's first democratically elected Islamist president. But after just 1 year in office, Egyptians had had enough of him. On July 3rd, the country's powerful army removed him from office. Many Egyptians CBN News spoke to defend the moves against Morsi.
The Muslim Brotherhood failed to come up with any good political or economic solutions and instead focused on trying to turn the society more conservative, more Islamic, and people didn't want this.
Since the military takeover, authorities have thrown thousands of Brotherhood members in jail. Hundreds of pro-Morsi supporters have been killed. Now there's growing concern among some that Egypt is turning into a military dictatorship.
The political direction of our country is turning more military. As long as the army is ruling Egypt, the current president does not represent us.
Meanwhile, some 20,000 security forces are on the streets to prevent any potential unrest. George Thomas, CBN News.
In Iran Monday, tens of thousands of people packed the streets of Tehran in the biggest anti-American protest in years. The annual demonstration marks the anniversary of the 1979 embassy takeover. 52 Americans were held hostage for more than a year. At this year's protest, crowds of Iranians shouted "Death to America" and "Death to Israel" as they burned American and Israeli flags. Many of those protesters are opponents of Iran's nuclear talks with the U.S. They say they will continue to speak out against President Rouhani's outreach to Washington. In September, the U.S. and Iran talked directly with each other for the first time since 1979. Ido Aharoni is Consul General for Israel in New York. Recently on the 700 Club, he said Iran is not interested in peace and it will continue to advance an Islamist ideology, whether it has nuclear weapons or not.
They're instigating violence and instability all over the world, from Latin America through North Africa to Central Asia, certainly in the Middle East. And we have to understand that the Iranian regime is an apocalyptic regime that is interested in the dissemination of the so-called Islamic revolution throughout the world. And they do it with or without nuclear weapons. They're doing it because it's part of their ideology.
You can see more of our interview with Ido Aharoni at our website, cbnnews.com.
An American pastor in prison in Iran is said to be facing life-threatening conditions after a recent prison transfer. The American Center for Law and Justice reports Saeed Abedini has been moved to Raja Shah Prison, known to be even more dangerous than Evin Prison, where he had been previously jailed. According to the ACLJ, Saeed is in a ward with men convicted for things like rape and murder. Family members tried to visit him on Monday, but were told he isn't allowed to have visitors in the new prison. Now, for more on how you can help push for Pastor Saeed Abedini's release, visit our website, cbnnews.com.
The United Nations is warning there is a risk of genocide in the Central African Republic. The country has been in turmoil since Islamist militants ousted the president back in March. In towns where Christians and Muslims used to live in peace and do business together, Islamists are now inciting violence between both communities. In the town of Bosagoa, thousands of Christians have fled their homes after attacks by rebels. Human rights groups have accused rebels of widespread looting, killings, rapes, and recruitment of child soldiers.
Still to come, women and porn, why more and more females are falling into the addiction.
Hi, my name is Breda. I'm just your typical 9-year-old. I love singing, dancing, reading, discovering the simple truth. My grandpa says you're never too young or old to learn the value of a dog. He taught me the true value of this paper dog. You see this little gold coin? It says $1 on it. But guess what? That was a long time ago. Today, this gold dollar is worth over 100 paper dollars. This paper dollar is now only worth 1 penny compared to America's former money, the gold dollar. My grandpa says the only money worth saving today is real money, gold or silver coins. He's pretty smart. How our paper dollars lost their value, he says. It's all explained in a new book, The Great Debasement. It's easy and fun to read. If you call the number on the screen, I will send you a copy totally free. Next time, I will explain the simple truth about money.
Help! If an emergency happened right now, you can have help at the push of a button with Medical Alert.
Remember when I took that fall, Mary?
Oh, yes, that was terrible.
Yes, it was.
Help!
And I thought, what if you hadn't been there? I ordered my Medical Alert the next day.
I can't describe how safe I feel now with my Medical Alert. You didn't know I was wearing it, did you?
Medical Alert is easy to install, waterproof, and covers you inside your home and out.
It helps me feel safe from fires, break-ins.
And of course, a Medical Alert. And if you don't have a home phone, don't worry. They have that covered.
There's always help at the push of a button. Don't wait till you need it.
Get Medical Alert for less than $1 a day. There are no long-term contracts. Order now and get your second button free. Call for your free brochure.
For your free Medical Alert system with second button free, call 800-575-8507.
Minnesota is a leading fighter against human trafficking, and the state could soon make an impact across the country. At a breakfast fundraiser, Senator Amy Klobuchar announced plans to introduce legislation to the U.S. Senate. Minnesota state leaders say St. Paul is setting an example and decreasing the demand by arresting more than 200 men this year for exchanging sex for money. The state also partners with organizations that can help identify women and children as victims and not criminals. And the audience at this breakfast heard from one of those victims.
I'm 42 today, and I started at 16. And I just recently got out of the life 4 months ago. I thought this is what I was going to be doing for the rest of my life until I was in my casket buried.
Minnesota hotels are also part of the fight, with managers on the lookout. They routinely make phone calls to police to report strange activity.
Well, most people think of porn as something only men struggle with, so it might be surprising to learn that a third of the millions of Americans who visit porn sites on the web are actually women.
A recent Pew Research poll finds 8% of women admit to watching adult videos online, and just like the men, they're getting addicted. Paul Strand has more.
Pornography has been a serious problem for decades, and it's only become worse in the internet age. Addiction has skyrocketed, even among Christian men.
You may think pornography is just a problem for the males, but there's an author who lives near Pikes Peak here in Colorado who will tell you these days it's definitely a problem for the females as well.
A problem that turned personal for Christian writer and lecturer Shelley Hitz. For years, she secretly battled her own addiction, too ashamed and afraid to confess it.
We were in ministry. My husband was in full-time ministry. We were active in our church. You know, I knew better. And so every time I would get beat up and hammered by the enemy and by myself.
It started off soft-core, but Shelley likens it to the parable of a frog put in a cool pot of water that slowly boils to death as the heat slowly increases.
If Satan would have come to me and said, Shelly, look at this hardcore porn, I would have been like that frog in that pot of boiling water. I would have jumped out. I said, no way.
After years of feeling trapped and disgusted, she found the courage to confess to husband CJ.
And I said, I need help. I can't stop. I don't know what to do, but I know this is going to destroy me. It could destroy our marriage. And I asked him if I could go to counseling.
Then came another surprise. For Shelly, CJ was battling his own years-long porn addiction.
I was able to easily show her grace because I felt so dirty myself and realizing the shame and the ugliness of the addiction.
But he had never planned to tell his wife.
There's no way I can let Shelly know this because she'll just feel hurt.
He finally opened up, and they began a steady battle to heal their marriage. They repented, asked forgiveness, and leaned more on God than ever before. This Colorado couple's next steps included filters on computers, carefully guarding their senses, and most important, enlisting accountability partners.
Somebody that I knew I could trust, that I knew would show me grace, but would ask me the hard questions.
There is healing that comes when you're able to share it with a brother that can pray with you, someone that can even relate to your struggle.
After counseling came deliverance. Then Shelly sensed God wanted her to take the most difficult step of all, going public.
That was 10 years ago. And then this year, I finally obeyed.
That led to the book, A Christian Woman's Guide to Breaking Free from Pornography. Shelly also began to confess during lectures to Christian women and young ladies.
Every time I would share it, it never failed. A woman, a teen girl, someone would come up to me and many times confess for the first time that, that they also struggle.
One young lady in particular shocked Shelly with what she had to say.
I am on a Christian college campus. I am the chaplain. And she said almost every girl on our floor struggles with pornography.
The growth of this addiction across American society led the Christian-based Witherspoon Institute to seek a solution with some of the world's foremost authorities, among them leading marriage and family therapist Jill Manning.
Females consistently, we find, represent approximately 30% of internet pornography consumers, a third, essentially.
For their book, Shelly and her co-author surveyed Christian women and came up with stunning numbers.
19% of Christian women and teen girls that say they're not just exposed to it, but they're addicted. And then of those that said that they were exposed to pornography, 44% said they felt hopeless in overcoming it.
But Shelly and CJ are a living testimony people willing to fight their way out can overcome.
I have been there. Christ has set me free. It has not been an easy path. It's been difficult. I still at times struggle, but there is freedom.
And they say this freedom has brought a new level of intimacy to their marriage.
There's an ecstasy and a peace and a joy and an elation that pornography never will bring.
So the message, the good news is, no matter how deep you're in, no matter how addicted, there's hope, there's deliverance. Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Up next, we'll go behind the scenes with one of gospel music's pioneers, how God's grace helped him overcome a dark past to become a gospel giant.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need, just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions, just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card, just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
For 33 years, Bobby Jones has produced the gospel TV show that bears his name, and he's launched the careers of hundreds of recording artists.
That's right, and now for the first time, he reveals that he suffered through a painful childhood. CBN's John Jessup sat down with him for this exclusive look at the music legend's life and legacy.
For millions across the country, soul-stirring music like this fills their homes each Sunday on cable TV. And though it takes a small army to put the show together,
thank you, Dr. Jones, for everything. We love you and you're awesome.
The man behind its success is Bobby Jones, now in his 33rd year producing the program that bears his name.
Even when I get ready to go into the studio, I just say, Lord, what a privilege it is that you use me to be a vehicle to bring so many people closer to you and to bring joy, love, peace, and happiness.
Jones's show got its start from humble beginnings. From 30 minutes on a single Nashville station, it's grown into a network broadcast ministering to millions.
Little did I ever think it was the first show produced for BET, my show. And we built this organization, you know, gospel music.
A former grade school teacher, Jones is now considered a musical trailblazer, earning a Grammy with country music star Barbara Mandrell and recognized by former President George W. Bush for revolutionizing the gospel music industry and exposing numerous gospel music artists to the world. Did that surprise you?
Man, did it. That was one of my, that was my high points.
But beneath the fame and flashy suits are some of his lowest points.
I began at a very early age protecting myself, from the abuse, verbal, physical, and I was confronted with a lot of that.
Jones tells CBN News he survived growing up in a home with an alcoholic dad. He says bitterness took hold as he watched his father mistreat his mom and siblings. He believes God's grace helped him eventually forgive his father, and now he's using his testimony to encourage others.
So I just lived life. I went ahead to do the things that I thought that I could do to overcome that situation, and I just wanted to leave that total environment. And it's a lot of people who may be in position now that I was in then, they'll just have to leave it, find a way to get around it. And that's a part of life.
His music and positive personality have earned him loyal fans.
You came all the way in from New Jersey.
Yes.
Okay, just to see the Bobby Jones gospel
this
show.
Morning, yes. Because I'm a fan of his, and it was just my opportunity to come out, so I took it, and I'm here.
Bobby Jones Gospel has played a prominent part of BET's programming lineup since the network premiered back in 1980. 3 decades later, his show is still going strong, contributing to the success of the network and launching the careers of hundreds of gospel music recording artists.
Dr. Jones' show has been the outlet for every major artist over the last almost 30 years. And when I started in the group commission in 1990, my first national performance from a television standpoint was on Bobby Jones Gospel.
For Grammy winner Erica Campbell, she always dreamed about one day singing on the show.
When I think of Dr. Jones, I think of being a little girl sitting in front of the TV on Sundays, waiting for an opportunity to just be on his show.
Now she calls him a friend and appreciates his openness to showcase different styles like gospel jazz or rap.
Most times you don't get that. If it's one show, you get one type of music, you get what the host likes, and that's about it. but he's not that way.
Singer James Fortune describes himself as a product of Bobby Jones's legacy and says the show is not about music, but ministry.
He's selfless, that it's not all about him, that he's not just concerned about Dr. Bobby Jones making it, but he understands the kingdom principle, is that we're all doing this together for the kingdom of God.
And at 75, Jones says he has no plans of slowing down.
You just did 2 shows, you're about to do your 3rd.
Yeah.
Where do you get the energy?
Well, I do this for Jesus. Yeah, well, I stop. I will when I have to. But if I don't have to, as Lord's and Lord's will, here I go.
John Jessup, CBN News.
Bye-bye, y'all. See you next week.
Washington.
Grace, music is unpredictable.
I know I have what it takes.
The Dove Foundation raves. Grace Unplugged is remarkable and inspiring.
This is not about the music. It's about everything else that goes with it.
Dad, were you watching me?
A moving and meaningful film.
This book, his words shook me. It was like my whole world.
That parents and teens should see together, says Focus on the Family.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna drag her back home?
Yeah, I might. I think maybe you're fighting God. Just stop running.
Grace Unplugged, rated PG, now playing. If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
Grace, music is unpredictable.
I know I have what it takes.
The Dove Foundation raves. Grace Unplugged is remarkable and inspiring.
This is not about the music. It's about everything else that goes with it.
Dad, were you watching me?
A moving and meaningful film.
This book, his words shook me. It was like my whole world.
That parents and teens should see together, says Focus on the Family.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna drag her back home?
Yeah, I might. I think maybe you're fighting God. Just stop running.
Grace Unplugged, rated PG, now playing.
Finally, can you miss someone you've never met?
Long-lost brothers meeting for the first time think that is the case. David, Noel, and Donald all have the same mother but grew up apart. 70-year-old David is the youngest of the brothers. His daughter found his 2 older brothers on Ancestry.com, and they all met last week in Florida.
I guess like a person having an empty spot in their life and not realizing maybe what it is, but you still know there's something.
Same way with David. It's just unbelievable to have that much spread, that there would be that kind of a bond.
Now, thanks to years of searching and a lot of help from the internet, the trio can pick up where they technically never left off. Well, all the best to them. Nice to see.
These types of stories are always so heartwarming to see families reunited. Praise God.
Indeed. Reconciliation.
Definitely. Well, that's going to do it for now on CBN News Today. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com.
And tell us what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do it on Facebook or at CBN News on Twitter. Hope you join us next time. Have a terrific Tuesday, everybody.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.